Something unfair has probably happened to you. Not hypothetically, actually. A relationship that ended in a way you did not deserve. A professional situation that cost you something real through no fault of your own. A circumstance you were born into that made everything harder before you had a chance to make a single, meaningful choice. A person who caused real damage and was never held accountable for it and may never be. If any of that is true, and for most people something like it genuinely is, then this video is going to say something that might initially sound like it is placing blame on you for things that were not your fault. It is not doing that, but it is going to ask something harder than blame, harder than resentment, and considerably harder than continuing to wait for the acknowledgement you deserved and never received. This is the idea Manson treats with the most care, because it is the one most easily misread and the one with the most potential to change something real in your life if you can hold it correctly without collapsing it into something it is not. Here's the distinction, and it has to be stated precisely or it loses everything that makes it useful. You are not responsible for what happened to you, and you are completely responsible for what you do with what comes after. Two entirely separate statements, both true at the same time. And almost every instinct in modern culture pushes against holding both simultaneously without reducing one into the other. We live in a moment that has become genuinely skilled at the first statement, at recognizing that people are shaped by circumstances they did not choose, that harm done by others leaves marks that are real and lasting and not easily dismissed by deciding to be positive about it. All of that is true and worth acknowledging clearly and without apology. But the cultural conversation is considerably less practiced at the second statement, because the second statement is uncomfortable in a specific and personal way that the first never has to be. It does not ask who caused this. It asks, what are you going to do about it now? And there is a moment, somewhere after something genuinely bad has happened, where those two questions stop being the same question, where the answer to who caused this stops being useful information that helps you move forward and starts instead being the weight that keeps you in place. Manson calls this the responsibility versus fault distinction. Fault looks backward. It asks who is to blame for the current situation. Responsibility looks forward. It asks who is going to take action from this point. You can be completely faultless and still be the only person who can do anything genuinely useful about where things stand. And this is where it becomes genuinely difficult to hold honestly, because accepting responsibility for your response to something you did not cause can feel, in the wrong reading, like you are excusing the person who harmed you, like you are conceding that what happened was acceptable, like you are absorbing blame that clearly belongs somewhere else. Manson's argument is that this reading confuses two completely separate things, and the confusion costs people real and irreplaceable years of their lives. Letting go of fault is not the same as letting go of truth. You can hold clearly and without apology exactly what happened and who was responsible. And you can still choose, entirely in your own interest, to be the person who decides what comes next, regardless of whether anyone else ever acknowledges what was done to you. Because here is what the alternative actually looks like when you trace it honestly. The alternative is to hand the person or system that harmed you a second power over your life. The first power was what they did when it happened. The second power is everything that does not happen in the years that follow, because you are still waiting for them to make it right, still running your energy and your decisions through the lens of what happened, rather than through the lens of where you are trying to go. That second power is the one you have genuine agency over. Surrendering it to someone who has already taken enough is not justice, and it is not loyalty to your pain. It is a choice you are making, and it is worth examining with complete honesty. The action before the final video is a single question. Think of one situation in your life where you are still carrying the weight of something that was genuinely not your fault. Not to dismiss it or minimize what it cost you, but ask one honest thing. Is holding this serving me, or is it serving the situation that created it? The final video brings everything in this series together around one idea that will clarify faster than almost anything else what your life is actually for. Subscribe so you do not miss it.